What's good, JB? I got something for you.
Huh?
Startropics.
What is that? A vacation?
Nah, fool. It's a game on Nintendo.
Oh.
Look, it got islands, exploration, dungeons.
Oh my goodness, yes!
Adventures.
No!
Startropics, man, you gotta play it.
Startropics is a 1990 game brought to us by Nintendo Integrated Research and Development, a division that had gone through several splits, merges, and name changes, but was responsible for developing hardware and apparently games, which included not only console titles, but also arcade. Startropics was written and directed by this man, YOYO Takeda. He was one of the general managers of IRD, and he just retired in 2017. Oh, and he was also the lead developer of the Punch-Out series. Huh. Wow. Thanks, Mr. Takeda. I know that I'm only scratching the surface, but you certainly have done a lot to help bring us gamers the good times. But I'm curious, why haven't I heard people talking about this game called Startropics? Did it suck? Did people just not give it a chance? Well, let's play it and maybe find out. Listen to that. It's a nice little track, isn't it? And look how pretty that is. I love when games take you to nice places. I mean, sure, this is 8-bit, but it's 1990, and I still got an 80s haircut and a CRT television. This shit is amazing, you hear me? This island is brought to you by the letter C. Oh nice, I got a save file, which tells me that I'm in for a Zelda kind of experience. Let me just get my name in there and One day, in summer, you land on It really was brought to us by the letter C. That's great. As you can see, this is a very chipper installment. The music is fun, which is important, as nobody wants to embark on an adventure to some nasty tunes. And this is a game where you really want to talk to everyone. Trust me, because it gets to a point where you're going to need certain details to even understand how to progress. The story starts like this. You play as this kid named Mike, whose uncle has gone missing. Players must guide Mike to find the uncle, archaeologist Dr. Stephen Jones. That's pretty irresponsible of this uncle, disappearing like that. And don't even get me started on these village people, putting a kid in charge of a rescue mission. But don't worry, because they're gonna give you a yo-yo. Yes! Yes! Because that is the only thing that had me on the fence about this whole thing. Protection. But gosh darn it, with a yo-yo, I can really be the hero now. Let's go. The dungeons are very well done in this game, as opposed to the open world walking, which looks pretty cheap. The dungeon rooms give a neat little challenge with different enemies that attack in unique patterns or with certain properties. Some foes follow you, others dance around and shoot off into random directions to throw you off. Some dash right at you as soon as you enter their line of sight, while others can take crazy amounts of damage before going down. The beauty of it is, you only get this set amount of hearts, like Zelda. But unlike Zelda, this game is a bit more stingy with the replenishment of those hearts. But that isn't a bad thing. The game is just offering a tighter challenge so you don't just go into these dungeons thinking that you're going to be some unstoppable yo-yo action hero. Instead, you're going to want to actually think about how you do each fight, so you can defeat the enemies, but also minimize the amount of damage that you take. In Zelda, you can take the hits and still have that sense of security knowing that, hey, it's not so bad. I'll just take out an enemy and get those heart hit points back. It's like this plan that's already in place that gives you this peace of mind. It's giving you that safety and coverage. Yeah. Many developers are giving you health insurance. And let's be honest, a lot of games, especially today, use this policy instead of having good enough faith in the player to just figure things out. And even though the challenge annoys me at the time, I very much appreciate when the development does this sort of thing. It just raises the value of actually pulling through and beating it all. The extra weapons that you get are nothing too fancy on the eyes, but they are actually useful for certain enemies and even bosses. And the boss fights are for sure set up in a way that you absolutely have to go in with a plan. The first few dungeons are kinda like your tutorials for the game. It's easy, but pay attention. You're being taught on how the dungeon rooms work. And I'm going to give you a big tip. You see that? They were kind enough to give you this darker edge to clue you in the beginning, but believe me when I say, you won't have that later on. There's going to be times where you are stuck, and you have no idea what to do. Well, my basic tip for you is to start pressing Mike's face against the walls. You might feel stupid in doing it, but honestly, that is only the surface of this game's cryptic nature. I remember thinking that Zelda was unique with the secrets and puzzles, but some parts of this game make Link's adventure feel like a child's shape sorter. Like, look at this. I'm getting halfway through the game, and this guy is like, dip my letter in water. Why? I don't have a letter. I'm checking my inventory space and it's nothing there. I start to throw a fit, thinking that I somehow missed picking up a stupid letter in a dungeon or some random NPC somewhere. But it turns out that the game is actually trying to get you to dip a real-life physical letter paper in water to reveal a secret code frequency. It was one of the documents that came with the game back in 1990, and I only have the cartridge, so of course I had to use the internet to figure this one out. At another point in the game, there's a bird trying to give you a clue to a secret passage, which really baked my biscuit, but you know what, I'm not going to get into all that, because as much as it irritated me, these little riddles and secrets are still part of the game's charm. Overall, the progression, design, and gameplay of Startropics is good, and it really is a fun experience. The story is nothing spectacular, but it still holds a measure of charm even today. The Balsameter is giving this one a 7.5 out of 10. Not too shabby, even though some of the game's secrets gave rise to my blood pressure.